Our next guest, Tracy Clemenger, always knew she wanted to adopt. She and her husband co-founded AdoptionSunday.com. Please welcome Tracy Clemenger. Great to have you here, Tracy. Thank you. Great. Come on in. Thank you. So, like, long before you were married, starting to think about planning, you said adoption versus biological. You're going for adoption first. Why?
As a teenager, I was captivated by the message that there is a God. God is loving, and that God has a unique purpose for every person. This informed the types of decisions I made along the way, who I would marry, my academic journey, and my family planning.
And you felt adoption should come prior to biological?
My heart was for adoption, had been for adoption. I had made that decision. It would be my primary choice in family planning. It's just something I wanted to do.
I got to know you when I started exploring the adoption need in Canada, and you were a legislative assistant in Ottawa for a federal government minister, and you explained to me the crisis of 30,000 children in Canada waiting for adoption. And I thought, well, the government should fix this. And then you said, okay, let me explain the gridlock. You've got to share this with the rest of us.
Well,
why isn't this able to be fixed by government?
I think every stakeholder on this issue has a role in which to play. Government is one piece of the pie. Our now Governor General of Canada identified two issues, two malaises that the public currently suffers from on the issue of adoption, and that is ignorance and indifference. So we have a public who would be sympathetic towards stepping to the plate, calling their local agency, stepping forward to become adoptive parents. Some are getting stuck in the system.
Yeah. We hear so much of that. That's so frustrating to people.
Yeah. I think also indifference, maybe a lack of imagination on how to connect and engage with the children. A lot of people are not aware of the children in their own communities who need homes.
So Adoption Sunday comes along. You and Bruce have co-founded AdoptionSunday.com. Tell us what it is.
AdoptionSunday.com is designed to encourage Canadians to ask that question, to seriously ask the question, should me and my wife, my family, my husband and I apply to become fostering and adoptive parents? It's designed to connect communities to communities. So there's a whole menu of ideas that we're offering on ways in which families can connect with other families who are in crisis in their communities. We have children who are in crisis in our communities. They are in the care of the system. The system predominantly works in child protection, but also works with parentings on basic things like parenting skills. We have poverty and homelessness. We have domestic violence issues. We have neglect. So they're on the front lines dealing with those issues. Other people, pastoral, you talk to clergy, they'll tell you they're on the front lines also working with children. So the goal of AdoptionSunday.com is to connect families to the issue and connect communities to the issues.
Okay, let's connect a little bit to some of the stories in our audience again. Let's hear how this works for people who've been adopted. Jennifer Pringle, you were an adopted child. Can I ask you, what would be your biggest need that you remember? As an adopted child, what would be your biggest need?
I think the theme of belonging is the biggest. And that continues throughout my adult life as well. So I can hardly imagine, though I had a good upbringing and, you know, a good family and there was nothing I could really complain about, but I always knew I didn't fit in. I knew I was very different, and personality-wise I was different. And so I can hardly imagine what people who aren't adopted into a family and waiting for a home, how they could possibly get a sense of belonging. So that would be the theme for me. And I think that is reflected in many lives.
Wow. Okay. And Lindsay, you have found your birth mother. You're adopted as well. Tell us about what it meant to you to find your birth mother.
It was a big burden lifted off my shoulders because, yeah, for years I wondered where she was. Birthdays weren't very fun. So when I eventually got to find her, it was just like a missing piece, and it was a good connection. And she was an amazing person, and I was really lucky I got to know her.
Wow. I want to go now to an adoptive mom, Wynne Van de Zande. Wynne, You adopted 2 children, you fostered 7. Tell us your advice to a parent watching today or a prospective parent saying, I wonder maybe I should take one of Canada's 30,000 children that are in the waiting line. What would your advice to them be?
Well, I would certainly recommend that if you didn't have children and you love to have children, like Gerald and I did, then I would certainly highly recommend it because they have brought so much joy and so much connectedness, and they fit right into our large family. I'm from a large family of 11 girls and 2 boys, and I would say they fit in as well as any of the others fit in that were born to the parents, and they will bring much joy. And just like your own children, you will have your ups and downs. You go through the teenage stage and you go through other stages, but basically it's family, and there's a lot of love and a lot of caring, and we just had Thanksgiving and sharing, and it was wonderful.
Your beautiful adopted daughter is smiling over your shoulder there. Thank you very much, Wynn. Well, after the break, I'm going to bring my personal perspective on why every adoption story is so important. I am adopted, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Tracy Clemenger, AdoptionSunday.com, thank you very much for being with us.
We want you to be a part of our studio audience. If you're in the Toronto area, contact us.
As a Canadian who found my own parents through the process of adoption, today's look at the issue hits close to home. Most of the 30,000 children waiting for adoption in Canada are not babies. I was adopted at the age of 2. I get it that every month spent waiting adds more complications. The word adopt means to choose. It's the same word recorded in the Bible that describes how God approaches the human race, choosing or adopting to love us. It's an example of choice that puts ultimate value on the well-being of children. And it is a choice we need to talk much more about. That's our hope today, to raise awareness about the great underreported need we have to adopt children in Canada. Our website has links and extra resources if you want to know more about adoption and the adoption process. We take very careful care with this issue in our viewer feedback department. We've been doing it for several seasons now. November is Adoption Month. Do write to us. We can help you get connected. I'm Lorna Dueck. Thanks for watching. Join us next week as we explore life beyond the headlines.